Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has a full plate in coming weeks between a possible government shutdown and a trip to China. Our next guest says if we have a government shutdown, the president and majority leader only have themselves to blame. He also questions why so many U.S. officials need to travel to China at the expense of U.S. taxpayers. Join us now, Republican Senator Rick Scott. He's a member of the Budget Committee, and that goes against what I've been reading and hearing about, Senator. I know you've seen the same things. Why do you say that the shutdown should be put at the door of Majority Leader and the President when most people say that Speaker McCarthy has 12 or 13 guys on the far right that he just can't control? And, I mean, we see that it might come to a head at some point as they try to pass some of these stopgaps.
Yeah. Well, first, Joe, we shouldn't be doing this in September. We should be doing this in the summer. We ought to be doing these budgets early. We don't actually have budgets yet. Here's what I'm working on with the House. I've been working with the Freedom Caucus in the House. They're absolutely committed to not having this government shut down and do what they promised the American public is get inflation down, interest rates down by balancing the budget, so reining in this wasteful spending, and they're working on securing the border. In the Senate, what Republicans are working on here is a bill that would never shut down government again. It would prevent government shutdowns. We'll have a continuing resolution. It's not the perfect solution, but we ought to stop this idea that we're going to see government shutdowns. We should never see government shutdowns again.
Hey, Senator, I'm sorry, just to clarify on this, that sounds like breaking news. If the House Freedom Caucus is saying they're making sure they're not going to shut things down, is that the case? Because the last I read, there were 10 House Republicans who would not go along with this, who would shut down the government, and I think the Speaker can only lose 5. Is that the difference between the House Freedom Caucus and some of the others that are out there? Explain that, because the latest we've heard is that it's very likely that you see a shutdown.
Well, first off, I don't think we're going to have a government shutdown. I think what's happening is the Freedom Caucus is saying, we committed to the numbers to balance our, to start the process to balance our budget. We need to follow through on those numbers and also secure the border. So in my conversations even late last night, the members of Freedom Caucus and other Republicans I've been talking to in the House, they're absolutely committed to getting to a deal that does these things. Start reining in the wasteful spending, that'll get inflation under control, get interest rates down, and secure a border. And I believe it's going to happen.
Tell me about how we should be. You're kind of a China hawk, I know. So why would you not be engaging to try to figure out how to deal with this major superpower and trading partner in the future? You don't want as many people going. Is it really a question of expenses, Senator?
Well, look, I agree with you. I think what we ought to do is we ought to engage everybody we can and have a real conversation. But you've watched China. You don't have a real conversation with them. Everything they tell you is a complete lie. They never follow through on anything, whether it's a trade deal or following the rules of the World Trade Organization or whatever these things. They never follow through. So in that case, there's no trust. You can't do a deal with them. So I don't think we shouldn't be traveling over there and saying, oh gosh, how do we work with you when all they do is they sell fentanyl across our southern border, kill 70,000 Americans. They never comply with our trade deals. They don't comply with the WTO. They steal our technology. The latest is we have supposedly an anti-China bill that allows companies like Intel to expand in China. So it seems like that was a pro-China bill. So I think, why would you engage in somebody that just lies and cheats and steals?
The future, though, is coming whether we wanted to or not. And companies like Apple, companies like Disney, take your pick. We have multinationals that are dependent on China. There's no easy way out at this point. Can we, if we engage China, can we prevent the worst case scenario, whether it's Taiwan, whether it's, continued, I don't know, when we get our trade secrets stolen? There's all kinds of bad behavior. But how would you handle that, Senator, other than engagement and dialogue?
Sure. Well, first off, I actually really agree with you. We need to have engagement. But, I mean, when somebody's a bully, you don't appease them. It's never worked. I've never seen anybody succeed by appeasing a bully. They're a bully. She's a bully. He threatens everybody. He lies, cheats, and steals. That's what he does. So how do you work with somebody like that? Like, I think we have to understand that China is decoupling from us. And if we want to continue to build American jobs, we got to figure out, how do we buy American products? How do we build American companies? How do we stop supporting investment in China? How we support investment in this country?
Senator, how do you think the election is going to play out? Just shifting gears completely. This has nothing to do with China. It just has to do with 2024. You're in an important, you represent an important state with an individual that at one point looked like he could challenge former President Trump. How do you think it's going to play out? Is it going to be the two leading candidates at this point, in your view?
If you look at the polls, you would clearly say it's going to be an election between Biden and Trump again. I think the election is going to be about, is the Biden economic program working for you? And it sure doesn't look like it is. You look at what's happened with inflation. You look at mortgage rates over 7.5%. Look at interest rates on car loans, highest in 23 years. High interest rates on credit cards. If you look at the job market, if you look at the different surveys, I mean, it's not growing. And they have, even on the best survey for Biden, they're having to revise the numbers every month. So this is not a great economy, and I think that's what the election is going to be about. When Trump was in office, the economy was a lot better. We weren't at war, and we had a secure border, and I think those are the issues that are going to decide the election.